Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with the 1 year update, or the 5 year update, because today marks 5 years since I took control of my life. If you are unfamiliar with my story, buckle in. This is a good one for motivation if you suffer from chronic pain. In 2011, I was involved in a car wreck. I was rear-ended on the interstate. As a result, I have 7 bulging discs, 6 herniations, spinal stenosis, scoliosis, and degenerative disc disorder. It was so bad that when I went for Social Security disability, the doctor was like, I don't understand how this man is walking, and they just automatically approved my Social Security disability. And for a very long time, I was perfectly content to sit around and walk and just live with the disability. Also, as a result of that, I wound up with tremors. My entire left side of my body decided that it just wanted to do its own thing. It wiggles and jiggles and shakes and does all the things that I don't want it to do. Or it did. This year has been a year of change. It has been a year of growth. There has been a lot different in this particular year. When I began this year, if you go back and you watch the video that was 1 year ago today from this video, I had just started walking 2 miles. I had decided in December 31st of 2019 that I was going to start walking as a result of a health scare. I got severely sick in October of 2019, something that several months later the entire world would shut down behind. And I had trouble breathing. I had trouble walking. When I finally got the ability to move a little bit farther than a couple hundred feet, I decided that I was going to start walking every day. I took my dogs for a walk. We started the shorts. You could see me walking my dogs every morning. Now I do it at home, but Merlin still gets to walk with me every day. I decided to start walking the dogs, and it took me an extraordinarily long time. My very first mile that I actually timed took me 45 minutes. It was painful every single step of the way, and that is still pretty much an issue today. But over time, I progressed. I started picking up a little bit further distance. I started going a little bit farther. I tried to go a little bit faster. I pushed myself pretty hard, much harder than most people probably would. When I take a step, it feels like I'm stepping on a knife. That is a real thing. Regardless, I've decided in the last year that I was going to listen to my intuition, to God speaking to me, and as a result, I have had significant progress. Also last year, if you go back and you watch the December 31st video from last year when I did the same update, I couldn't talk. I was talking way up here because I had a lump in my throat. As a matter of fact, I mentioned it in that particular video. The lump is gone, and if you have been following along at all, you would know this is my normal tone of voice. The fact that I can talk here at all is a miracle. It was not something that I was able to do last year at all. But this year, the lump is gone. Now, that is due to prayer, fasting, meditation, and magic. I have been manipulating the electromagnetic forces of creation, which is the Holy Spirit, and as a result, I am seeing significant healing within myself. Part of that is the removal of the lump. Now, my vocal cords, they're not quite where they need to be, right? I'm not talking way up here anymore, but I still have to modulate my tone a little bit. I can talk in the lower range. This right here still was not available to me last year. But through the course of the year and through meditative practices and moving the energy in my body, I've removed the lump. I've also healed myself in some other ways. 20 years ago, I had shoulder surgery twice. They trimmed my clavicle. They rearranged some things. They rerouted a tendon to hold my shoulder into socket a little bit tighter. I have healed that particular surgery. I was only able to get about this high, right? I have full range of motion now. There's still a few issues, mostly due to strength and laxity, because I haven't exercised it properly for better than a decade or two. But it is getting better every single day, and I have full range of motion. On top of that, this particular year, when I started, we was at 2 years. I had just kicked it up to 2 years, or 2 miles, not 2 years. We made 2 miles at the beginning of the year, and that was pushing it. That was really pushing it hard. I was forcing myself to get faster and stronger and go farther. And I got to where I could walk 2 miles in 30 minutes, which is significantly better than 1 mile in 45. Absolutely. Over the course of this past year, God has been telling me to step it up a notch more. And so I have. For the last 4 months, I've been running. Now, for most people, that's not a big deal. For most people, they're like, okay, whatever. But for me, it is, because 5 years ago, I couldn't take a step without it being brutally painful, right? I can push myself. I have a high pain tolerance, so I push myself through the pain. It still hurts. I still have issues. There's not an instantaneous fixing of the problem. But for the first time in better than 2 decades, I can run. I'm up to 3 miles. I started walking 3 miles before I started trying to run. And I got my 3 miles, and I was making 3 miles in roughly 45 minutes. A little higher, a little lower sometimes, depending. Over the course of this past 4 or 5 months, I have started trying to run. I picked up a quarter mile, and then or an eighth mile, and then I picked up a quarter mile, and then I picked up a half mile, and then I picked up 3/4 of a mile, and I am now almost to a mile and a half. I run almost a mile and a half of my 3-mile walk every single day. That's a little bit much for some people, and that's not enough for other people. But for me, that is a pure D miracle. The fact that I can run is a blessing. It is something that I am thankful for, and I pray and give thanks to God for every single day, because a year ago, I couldn't do it. A year ago, it was not a possibility. A year ago, I was convinced that it would never happen. And now, I'm working on a 5K, right? My goal for the spring is to be able to run a 5K. Even if I can't afford to enter a 5K, I still want to be able to do the distance. By next fall, I want to be able to do a 10K. I am pushing myself pretty hard. On top of that, right, we've healed the throat, we've healed the shoulder, we are healing the back. On top of that, I am today 31 days without a tremor, without anything on the left side of my body doing anything outside of what I wanted to do. And that is another miracle. It is, again, due to fasting, prayer, meditation, and magic. I am moving the electromagnetic forces of creation, which is the Holy Spirit, and that has allowed me to heal my body. I say all of this so that you know it is a possibility. I say all of this so that you know you can overcome. Does that mean that it will happen? No. Does that mean that it will be pain-free? No. Does it mean that it will be immediate? No. This has been a progression. This has been me pushing my boundaries and accepting the pain, accepting the effort, going into it with the mindset that not only can I overcome it, but that I will overcome it, that I will indeed hit the goal for which I have set for myself. I have seen significant progress. This is also the year where we wrapped up the Bible study, and that ended in a place that I did not expect it to. And if you were unfamiliar, there's a whole playlist. It's 161 videos. That's a big slog, but there is a definite reason why I am now doing the practices that I do instead of what everybody else thinks works. We started this year reading, right? Thanks, Chris, for your recommendation of Dante's Inferno. And because of that, we have gone and done several works of antiquity. We've done several works of spirituality. We've dealt with religion in some very real ways. And we've had some deep interrogatives, right? We spent a lot of time thinking about things, and we spent a lot of time learning about things, and we spent a lot of time discussing things. And because of that, I've been able to help some more people, and that is always a blessing. I've had people tell me that I have changed their life with the things that I have said, and that is always a blessing. As a matter of fact, that's the best blessing I get out of what I do here. Right? The monetary thing, it's not that big. Hopefully one day it will add up, but for now, it's not the motivation. It never has been. You telling me that I have made a difference in your life is why I continue to do this. It has been a year of setting goals and crushing those goals, and it has been a year of not meeting the goals as well. When I began this year, I had a goal for 10,000 subscribers, and we are not there. Right? We are at 4,300, and that is a blessing. I am thankful for every single one of the crew members. But YouTube decided a few months ago, right after the election, that the algorithm needed a little tweaking. And since then, we have had very little growth, and that is just part of the process, I guess. it's picking back up now. I don't know if they tweaked the algorithm back or what they've done, but for a few months there was almost no growth, and did not hit the 10K goal. I did not even hit half of that, the 5K goal. Really did think that we were going to be a 5K by this point, but the algorithm really got us. Also, there's been a little bit of a halt on the game, right? Not necessarily because it's a bad idea, but that I am not technically able to do all of the things that I want to do in the game to put out a game that is worth playing, right? I don't want to put out a subpar piece of work, and so until I can put it in the way that I want to, it's kind of in a stasis. There have been significant improvements in Unreal Engine. There have been significant improvements with the Ascent Combat Framework, which I use. And probably this coming year, we will be able to get a little bit more done on that than I thought. But I really thought that we would have a playable game, if not the full version, at least the tutorial, done well before this point in time. But there's been a lot of setbacks. It's part of the process. But outside of that, this has been a year of extraordinary growth, right? I have gotten a lot more sure in what I am doing here. I've gotten a lot more comfortable with people disagreeing with me for whatever reason. I made my first appearance on someone else's channel. That is something that I never really expected to happen, right? You think, okay, maybe it will, but you never really think that it will. And so, Indian Jesus, shout out to you. Thank you for having me on and for us having a productive discussion. I got my viewpoint changed on some things. I don't know whether he did or not, but that's fine. He really went into that interview thinking that it was going to be one thing, and it wound up being something different because I am a little bit different than what most people expect. I have doubled down on the honesty. I've doubled down on the calling out of stuff. I've doubled down on not allowing the victim mentality to take over. We got the origin story out this year, which is something that I, again, never really expected to do. I still owe you, Chris, I still owe you the Navy videos. They are coming. I'm working out how exactly I want to do that because there was a lot in there that I'm not entirely proud of, but that I don't want to glorify by talking about in the wrong way, so I'm trying to tweak that just right. I started writing the book. We are doing a book on how to perform the magic that I am doing, right? It is through the will of God. Don't ever get it twisted, but it is definitely me making the decisions. It is me moving the energy. It is me healing myself. And so, once again, that is something that is happening. I am hoping to, in the next month or so, get the rough draft done and get it out for some edits and then get it back for some edits and all of that. But we started. I have made progress. I've already got 3 chapters and the introduction, a little over 20,000, almost 30,000 words, something like that. That again is something that has to be done in the right way. Just like the infinite integration, I had to do the playlist in a specific order so that it would make sense going forward. It's the same thing. I have to make sure that it works in a way that is, you can read it from beginning to end and actually be able to enact the things within it fairly quickly. But other than that, I don't know that there's a whole lot more to update on, right? There's been significant changes in my health, all of them positive, right? I finally got to the point where I can run. That is amazing. I got to the point where I'm not shaking. That is amazing. I got to the point where I can talk. That is amazing. I got so much growth on the channel, right? Really, when I started this, I did not expect people to watch at all. And people showed up, and I am thankful for that. I am thankful every single day for all of you. This has been therapy for me in large ways. It has been learning in very large ways so that I can understand how to make myself better and how I can help my crew to make themselves better, because the goal every single day is small improvements to equal the big change that we are looking for. Hopefully, this video brings you a little bit of hope and motivation. If you are injured, there is hope. You can take charge of your life and begin to make small changes, which will add up to the big ones. I started with a half mile. I am now at 3 miles. I started with 45 minutes for a mile, right? That is not great if you're unaware. And now I'm doing 3 miles in 25 minutes. That is a 10-minute mile, a little bit less if you're paying attention. That is amazing. That is something that I did not even do when I was in the Navy. And so this year has been a year of growth, and I fully expect this next year to be a year of growth. And unless God calls me home, I am going to continue on this path. I am going to continue doubling down on what we're doing. We will lean into the spirituality more and more, because that is what is allowing these changes in my life. Hopefully, this is encouraging to you. Hopefully, you can see this and take from this the fact that you can change your life. Now, we finished up the MBTI stuff. There's still a little bit of work left to do on there, but not a whole lot. If you were unaware of what we're doing over there, you might want to check out the MBTI, simply because it can help you to understand where your weaknesses lie and what you can do to fix them. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. So hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to some difficult subjects. Hopefully I didn't step on too many toes with my unconventional beliefs. If you are unfamiliar, I do have some unconventional beliefs. They are outlined in several playlists, and it's not for everybody. This channel is open to anyone, but it is not for everyone. It is only for those who are seeking a better, truer, higher knowledge. There is something out there. There is something much different than the way that you were brought up to think. And a little bit of investigation can lead you to some great revelations. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt Steak. Peace.